Welcome friends. In the last video, we have seen like how to create a Spring Boot application from the scratch. In this and one of the we have created a employee which we stored into the database. In this video, we are going to see like different operation, how to get employees or fetch employees or delete employee by ID or update employee. This operation we are going to see in this video. So let's get started. First create here one get method. First we will get all employees from the our database. So for that I am creating one method here which will give us a list of employees from employee tables. So here I use public list of employee get all employees, and we will use service method to call our method get all employees method. So employee dot service return, we will use return statement. Employee service dot get all employee. So here is no method in service class. So we need to create method in service class get all employee. So let's head into the employee class in employee interface, and we will create this get all employee method. Here is our employee service. So we will use public employee here list of employee we need to use list of employee, and we will get all employees. And we need to declare only method, and we need to provide implementation in our service IMPL class. So go into the service IMPL. Here we need to override that method. Just implement method get all employees, and we need to employee repository dot we need to find all employees dot find all method in a repository class that we can use to get all employees. That's it. We can get these all employees. Let's hit our endpoint. Let me reshare again. And we will hit this endpoint, get all employees. Here inside create new request, add new request, and we will use this URL. We will use this URL. Here we have created previously. Okay, here we need to create add request, and we will use API/emp, and we will send the request. Let's run our application first. Until then, we will create another our API which will endpoint. Here it is showing error. So this we need to again recall here. Employee service dot get all employees. Okay, it's clear now. Let's rerun again. Until then, we will create another method. Once we get the all employees, we will get employee by ID. So for that, I am using get mapping and we'll pass ID as a parameter. So let's create another at the rate get mapping. We will pass this as a ID and we will create another method public response entity. And our entity will be employee, and then get employee by ID. And we will use once okay it started, we will hit this endpoint first. So here we got the record from our database. So initially we inserted only one record. So it is showing only one record to us. Let's implement this method get by ID. We will try with get by ID. So we need to pass path variable as a long ID, and at the rate we can use here path variable long ID we will use. And then employee we will create employee object, and we will get the employee by ID from the our service. So create employee equal to employee service dot get by ID, get employee by ID. And now we need to pass this ID to this, or else we need to throw the exception. So dot or else throw dot or else throw new exception. So new runtime exception, which will be employee not found. Employee runtime exception it is. Runtime exception, employee not found. So we need to create this method in service get by employee by ID. So let's go into the service class. We will create a method there, get employee by ID, public, and get employee by ID, which will take as optional as a parameter employee, optional employee, and we will get employees by ID and we will pass that ID long as a ID, and here we need to only declare this. Let's import this class, and we need to override this method inside our service class. So go here, click implement method that will implement get employee by ID, and we will write our get employee by ID logic. So here just we need to return from the service. We can use a repository, employee repository dot get employee repository dot find by ID method is there. and by ID. So we will pass this ID to this method and we will run this and we will call our method. Let's rerun and we will hit the endpoint again. We'll rename this. First create new request, add request. And we will pass ID to this. So this is our get method and slash ID we need to pass to slash ID. Sorry, ID 1. So we got the error here. Okay, it is expected. Let's rerun this again. Until then, we will rename these packages. Rename get by ID. You can rename this as well. Get all. It's showing one error, missing return statement. Okay, here path we have created and we have to return this. So that we have not performed. So return response, we need to return response. So let's return our response. Employee response entity dot okay response entity dot okay and our employee as a return. So now it should run. Hope we have declared everything and we can rename until the is get all. Employee. Okay, it's run with the 0 error. And now we'll hit this get employee by ID. So now hit this endpoint. Okay, we got the error like PICMP not found. So let's check what is the issue. Inside our we will pass this ID as in bracket we will use here. And the endpoint we are using this mapping slash ID. It's right. So we need to make sure this is in curly brackets. Let's rerun again and hit this. Until then, we will create another endpoint which will update record from database. Let's create put mapping here. At the rate put mapping. So in this time, we need to update record into the database. For that, we are passing ID. So let's pass ID to this. Create method public response entity as a employee. Then update employee. Update employee. And we will pass this update employee as a path as ID, and we need to pass our employee details as well. So at the rate path variable as a ID and comma at the rate request body, we need to pass request body employee, we need to pass employee details. Okay, let's hit this AP endpoint first if we are getting this output or not. Check. It is showing bad request. Let's check what is the issue. API/employee API/emp get mapping at the rate ID we are passing. Let's don't use this curly bracket here. We'll send again. Okay, now we got this record, the one ID from database. Let's create our method put mapping. So for put mapping, we are using here a request body employee and ID we are passing. So ID is a long of type, a type of long. So use here long. Then we will get the details from our employee details and we will set details. So for that we need to get employee service dot update employee method we need to create, and we need to pass that employee details. So create here employee equal to employee service dot update employee, and we need to pass our ID, our employee details. And then we need to return this response entity response entity dot okay and our employee object. We will create method in service class update employee. Go inside service, create one method public update employee update employee, and we need to pass long as ID and employee details. EMP details. We will override this method in our service class. Must implement. Okay, implement this method, and we need to set our employee details from the employee. So let's create the employee object here first. Employee equal to employee repository dot find by ID. First we need to find, then we need to set details. So employee repository, employee repository, employee repository dot find by ID. We need to use, we will pass ID to this get get employee by ID, and we will pass the ID to this, or else we will throw exception dot, or else throw new runtime exception employee not found, and we will close this. Then we will update employee, employee dot set name, employee details, details dot get name. Here emp details dot get name we need to set, as well as role we need to set. Employee dot set role emp details dot get role. And after this, we need to return. We need to save employee repository dot save, employee repository dot save entity or employee. Now let's run this and we will see 5 error, why it is showing 5 error. Okay, we need to use here or else throw, still 1 error showing. What is the issue here? Not found. Let me check what is the issue here. Okay, here we need to use only ID here. Find by ID. Okay, all right. Let's run this and we will see what is there. Let's stop and rerun. We will update our employee. Let's create our new request here. Add request. Add request. We will use previous one. So let's use this as a port mapping. JSON we will use body, raw JSON, and we will just update this name and roll number. Let's see where is the error. Cannot find update methods. Okay, some name dot update employee. Okay, now run this. Until then, we will clear this list Johnson. We will rename this. Compiled with one error. What is error now? Missing return statement. 39. Okay, we need to use return here. Return new response entity. Let's rerun this. We will see rename until then this. Update employee. Okay, it compiled and started. Let's see. I would get update or not. It started. Let's hit this endpoint. Okay, we got the result as it is updated result. We got Alice Johnson as a developer. Previously, it was a Sandeep and Rowley was developer. So let's now delete the record. We will use put mapping, which will sorry, we will use now delete mapping. So we will delete the record from database at the rate public wide delete employee. So first we need to create our controller. So for that we need to use at the rate delete mapping over our annotations. So annotation as a delete mapping, and then we will pass ID. So let's use here at the rate delete mapping. We will use ID as a param. Public response entity void delete employee, and we will use @path variable. We will long as id, and we will create this method, and we will use employee service dot delete, employee service dot delete record method. We will create delete record, and we will pass id to this, and we will return response entity dot okay, our response entity dot okay, no content. Now there should be no content, and we will bid no content dot bid. Okay, create this method in service, delete record from service. Let's here create public void delete record, and we will pass long as id, long id, and we will employee repository dot here only we need to declare, we don't need to, as we need to provide implementation to this. Let's override that method here inside implementation class. Okay, and employee repository dot we will use delete by id, delete by id, and we will pass id as a parameter. Okay, now let's run this. We will see. We will create delete mapping until then inside our this. Add new requests. We will use this URL, just we will change our mapping. From get to, we will create it as a delete, and we will see what is the error here. Missing return statement. Okay, this we need to return. Let's rerun this again. Build now and compile. Compilation finish with 0 error. We will run this now. We will see database once. Let's refresh our database. So like here previously first it is a record of Sandeep developer. So we updated it, should be Alice Johnson now. And we will delete this record. So it is Alice Johnson's, and we will hit this requisition point, and we will try to delete that. So it's started, and we will hit this record. Let's see. So now we got 4204, no content. So this record is deleted. So let's check again. Let's execute our queries. Okay, select this. So there is no record. So this is the basic operation, get, put, delete, and update. So next video, we are going to see, will this API will accept by my client? Let's see if it is proper. So there is a modification required for this. So it should be accepted by our client. For that, we are going to create a response DTO object, which will give us proper message here, and we will try to handle exception in that as well. So our client will accept this API as well. So we are going to see end-to-end development in this API. So stay updated, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Thank you.